This is the Note Closer Show, where you get the latest developments in distressed note investing and learn the secrets of how you can control millions of dollars worth of property for pennies on the dollar. Get educated and entertained by someone who has closed thousands of deals and lives to support you in achieving the same. Now, here's your host, CEO of We Close Notes, Scott Carson.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Note Closer Show. We are excited to have you. It is Friday here in the office, and we are wrapping up another successful week here at the WCN War Room. So just really love a lot of our guests and what they shared the last couple of days here in the podcast, the previous episodes, especially Wayne Snell and, of course, Adam Adams on back-to-back episodes in the previous ones if you listen to. If you have not, check out their episodes in the library of the many great guests and discussions we've had, not only here on the podcast for the last 12, 13 episodes, but also if you'd like to check out some of the recordings, you can always go to vimeo.com/WeCloseNotes to check out the first 149 episodes of when we started for the first 10 months. But today's topic kind of falls into with what Adam and Wayne kind of discussed throughout. And I think a lot of people miss that underlying current of what is driving their business. Now, let's just do a quick. Adam talked about how he loves to do notes, but he loves to be lazy. And that's a good thing. He has earned the right to be lazy in a good way. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. In a good way that he likes to take naps, he likes to relax, he likes to travel, he's working on bringing Jen home, his wife, from her full-time job, even though she loves her job, and Jen's phenomenal, doing a great job out there. But he's working on cash flow. Why cash flow? Well, as he reiterated, he would rather have $200 a month coming in off a deal versus getting a $10,000 lump check than going back to work. Now, Wayne also kind of reiterated that same fact. He's looking for cash flow. He's looking for notes that are going to be reperforming, that he can basically deduct that monthly payment from his overhead each month. And the extra they've been saving aside and using that to buy and fund their own deals. So today's topic, I wanted to go through KPIs, key performance indicators, and your FIN, your financial independence number. Now, a lot of people don't start with the end in mind. And as our good buddy Aaron Young from one of the previous episodes always likes to say, start with the end in mind. So as a note or actually a real estate investor, what is your big goal? Is it your big goal to fix and flip 1,000 homes? Is your goal to modify 1,000 homes? Is your goal to have 1,000 rentals? Probably, honestly, not. Okay? My personal goal, I want to have 400 plus notes that are bringing in, $250 to $500 a month in cash flow to me. That's a great number for me, right? Everybody's number is different. Wayne's is different from Adam's. Adam's is different from mine. It's different from Kimberly Banks Fawcett. It's totally different across the board. One of the things you have to keep in mind is if you're really going to be successful, you got to have a game plan, all right? You got to have a blueprint to your success. And Wayne and Adam and Jay Tenenbaum and a whole variety of people out there, Cody Cox is on his way as well. Karen and Stacey Wall are doing a great job. We got to give a big shout out to Pari today. Pari closed on a deal, actually got cashed out of a deal. A 16-month deal is going to make him about 16% return on his money. His own money, he funded the deal, $12,000 some change. The borrower paid him off in a cash payoff. 16 months later, he made a 16% return on his money, which is great, especially in San Francisco, where our ROIs on investments are basically none out there because it's so expensive. But with keeping the end in mind and building a foundation, what do you have to do? How many deals do you have to do to really retire if you want to? Or to hit financial independence. Now, financial independence means a variety of things for people. For me, it means, A, you have enough cash flow coming in that if you want to take a month, 2 months, 3 months off, your bills are covered. Everything's running as normal, maybe even growing a little bit. All right? You want to, where if you don't work, you have the money coming in. That's what's called a business owner or investor if you're investing your money that way. Too many people are entrepreneurs or they end up, the business runs them. They're doing so much work to stay on top of things that they don't get to have any fun. And that's not the way you want to be. You want to try with the end in mind. And listen, I think anybody's ever run a company at some point has had the company run them for a while. Listen to Aaron Young's Unshackled Owner podcast, and you'll see what he's talking about because we've had those conversations. Now, I love what I do. I enjoy it on a daily basis. I love getting up, coming to the office, hanging out with this crew here, making things happen. I love helping students out there across the world, those that are watching us live, that also listen to the podcast and everything. I really, really do enjoy helping people. But I like making money, okay? Let's not call a zebra leopard, okay? I enjoy making money, and my goal is to make money on what I do. That's part of the reason. If I wasn't making money, I wouldn't enjoy what I'm doing as much. Can we agree to that, everybody?
Yes.
Okay? Now, I do love it. I do enjoy helping people, but I got to cover my bills too. So what I want you to keep in mind this morning is your financial independence number is going to be completely different from everybody else, okay? And how do you get to that number is one of the things that we're going to do as far as backwards engineering today. So one of the things that we do on our virtual no buying workshop is we always kind of start the workshop off with making 250K or making 6 figures in the next 12 months. All right. And so we're going to do a little bit of a spin on that. So let's talk about something here. Let's say, I'm not sure exactly the best way. I know exactly what I'm going to do. So let's look at what your monthly is. Look at what your bills, look at what your house is, your rent or your bills, your, cable, your car payments, your insurance. What does that number need to be? Well, let's just say it's $5,000 a month. Okay. Does that come up all right on the screen? I will see here in a second. So $5,000 a month is what you've got to make. All right.
Do you have one that's darker?
Yes, I have a couple. I have multiple ones that are darker here. So that's better. $5,000 a month. This is a nice sunny day outside today, so the glare here. So $5,000 a month. Now, if you have your own money and you want to make $5,000 a month, great. But if you don't have your own investment funds, okay, and you need to borrow some of these funds, the way I always like to look at it is just assume you're splitting cash flows, a splitting monthly payment. So figure it out being $10,000 a month is what you really need to have in cash flow with a JV partner or partners. Okay, $5,000 a month is just solely you. Now adjust these numbers. If your number's 10 grand for yourself, by all means, that's fine. If it's 6 grand, just adjust the numbers. Okay. Now Wayne mentioned yesterday that on average, he's shooting for around $400 a month in cash flow. And I think that's pretty fair. We ran some numbers on some stuff that we were working on, and the average on some of the stuff was like, what, 340, 350, somewhere right around there, which is okay. We've got other stuff that's higher than that. But so let's say $400 a month is what you need to get. Well, take 5,000, divide that by 400. What's that come to? Should be about 13 deals, 12 and a half deals. Is that right? Correct? Mm-hmm. Yes? Yeah.
Yes.
Divide by $400 a month cash flow. Let me make this legible for those that are watching, those that are listening, and just draw this on a piece of paper. It might help you. Say 5,000 divided by 400 should come to like 12 and a half deals. Okay. Now, if you're going to do that with $10,000 is what you need to have coming in, divide that by 400. That should come to 25 deals that you need to close it if they're averaging $400 a month. Now, if the cash flow on it is a little higher, great, it's less. If it's a little bit lower, it's going to be a little bit more. Okay. The idea is how many deals do you need to do, or really how many offers you need to offer on to hit that number. The big misconception we see a lot of times is that a lot of investors that make 1 or 3 offers, 1 or 4 a month, they get one maybe accepted, or they don't get any of them accepted, and they get jaded. Well, they're not making enough offers. It's like if you were in a traditional fix and flip business, a traditional real estate business, and they told you that you need to get deals that you needed to send out 5,000 postcards to get 5 deals, would you send out 5,000 postcards? Well, no, a lot of people send out 500 or 1,000. Okay. Most note investors have about a 10% close ratio with the deals they bid. That's closing. That's not acceptance ratios. Okay. Now you can adjust your numbers a little bit, and your numbers are going to get better when you submit bids more and more often. When you figure out with where you're at and what pricing doesn't make sense. I mean, we're still seeing probably around a 35-40% acceptance for our goals. Jen's over there like shaking her head. Nicole, yeah, about 40% for us. We've been doing it a long time. Well, not longer than most people out there anyway. Okay. So let's go through that number. Let's go the high number here. So if you got to do, we'll just run this up because you're not going to have 12 and a half deals. Let's say 13 deals. Okay. So if you're going to need 13 deals and you're using your own funds and you've got a 10% closing rate, that means you multiply 13 times 10 to 130 offers. If you need to do 25 times 10, means you need to make 250 offers. Okay? So if you're going to get to this number here, that's the work you've got to put in. All right? That's the work you got to put in. Now, one thing a lot of people mess around with is they make offers and they don't get accepted or they're too low. They don't follow back up with what was the winning offer? What was the winning bid? That way you have a good idea to see, well, did my bid make sense, or was the guy that bid overbid way tremendously? Or did I miss out just close? And if you're close, hey, just keep making offers. If you're way off, look at the source. There's a few sources that sell notes out there, but they're selling really expensive, really high pricing on stuff because you got all these newbies that don't know what the hell they're doing and they're overpaying for assets, okay? What happens a lot is people or sellers will approve bids and then deals will fall out in 30, 60, 90 days because of a variety of things. A, they either didn't complete the due diligence, or B, they just walked away from it. All right? Okay? So you've got to put the work in if you're wanting to get that 5,000. Now let's talk about that. What does that come down to? Okay? So I'm going to write some of the stuff here. All right. So if you need to make 130 offers and you want to leave your job in, say, a year, well, that means if you divide the 130 divided by 12, what's that come to? It's almost 10 a week, right? No, sorry, 10 a month. Actually, it's actually 12 times 11 is 131. That equals 11 a month. Or roughly 3 a week. That's not hard to get to. All right, let's do the other number. If you need to do 250, divide by 12 is basically what, 20, 21 a month. That's basically 5 plus a week is what you'd be offering on. This is if you look back at this, to get $5,000 coming in, that's a $60K a year income off of that. If you got $10,000, that's $120K, or 60 to you and 60 to your JV splits. Okay. Now that's the simple. A lot of people aren't making enough offers. A lot of people aren't making 11 a month or 21 a month. They're making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 offers. Now, as you get better at what you're doing, you'll get more accepted. All right. If I wanted to get 40 deals closed in a month and I have a 40% closing rate or approval rate, that means I need to make 100 to get that 40, which is just about what we do on a monthly basis, right, everybody?
Yeah.
We didn't make a lot of offers this month because we're busy going through and working out the ones. Now, one thing to keep in mind is, are you going to have 100 of your deals stay and be performing? No. I wish that was the case. I wish that was the case. The thing you got to keep in mind is about half your deals you're going to end up foreclosing on or selling off or getting deed and lose and making big chunks of change, 10, 15, 20 grand on those deals. Those are nice chunks of change that obviously cut down on that 60K really fast. But what you do with that money is up to you. Do you take that money and spend it, or do you take that money and double down? Do you reinvest it? Instead of buying one asset, you're buying 2 assets now. All right. If you take those numbers and put those in your favor of doubling down, you'll get better deals. You'll have more deals happen faster, and you'll hold on to things long term. So do we have any questions from anybody before I dive into the next kind of little segment here? Nope.
Bunch of good mornings.
Bunch of good morning, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. So the thing to keep in mind is, okay, how do I get to that number? Now, a great case study is what we've been doing lately. Right, Jen? Right, Greg? Right, Nicole?
Yes.
So I'll give you some number stats on what we have done. So we have closed on, what, 71, 72?
71.
71 contract for deeds in roughly the last 90 days. Right?
Yes.
And with servicing delays and collateral delays, we didn't really get servicing going until just recently.
Yeah.
All right? Can we agree to that?
Yes.
The previous servicer dragged their feet. Hell, half the files haven't said anything out on anything to the borrowers, if not more. Okay, none of them. Yeah, that's the hardest thing is waiting for the pre-servicer to get their shit in gear. So we could not wait around for it. We want to be proactive on doing this. So as you guys remember, the last Friday or the Friday before, we talked about how we'd sent letters out and the phone was ringing off the hooks, right? So as of to date, out of the 71, how many of them have responded and looked to want to reinstate, stay in the house?
43.
43?
40, like
40. Well, 41, and we got the
that's
2 that we turned out to be empty. So we have 41 that are wanting to reinstate. All right. And then we added up roughly, quick run of the mill, based on their principal interest. What we have found, Jen, you found what? Are they making just their principal interest amount, or are they making extra besides PITI?
No, they're paying additional.
They're paying additional rate. A lot of them are already set up on forbearance or trial payment plans they want to keep. Okay. But Nicole, you ran the numbers on that. If we added up the on the 41, what number is that coming in right now?
100 or 330 for cash flow on the, so it's like 6,500 monthly.
What's the total cash flow?
Sorry.
It's okay. So total cash flow on the 41. We had ran the number.
Oh, 13.
So 13,000.
Yeah, sorry.
13K roughly, up and down. We added a little bit there. I mean, the thing is, we're getting so many people phone calls in that Jenna's typing in. She's like, ugh. At the end of the day, go back and fill in all the files because there's a lot of great information for people. Right. But people are like, we want to stay. You know, we want to work out with you. We're willing to make our existing payment. We bring a little bit extra to the table. There's only a couple where the bar's like, we're really strapped on what the payment was. Can you adjust it down? And we're working through those with those people. Right. But 13,000 already on just these 41. Now, what's 41 divided by 71? It's pretty good.
57.
We basically have a 57% reinstatement rate right now. 57% is pretty good. Why is that high? Well, it's high because of the fact we did a lot of due diligence in the front end. I mean, these guys worked their butts off, calling realtors, calling the city, getting drive-bys, all that fun stuff. Okay, to making sure, talking to the city utility department, and even some of the borrowers we talked to yesterday, they're already in payment plans with the city. Like we're working out. One of the ladies that I talked with yesterday, was very aggressive. Could not have been a 51 one of those, but turned into one because we just visited. We just had a conversation and stuff. So, well, that's phenomenal. Look at it this way: we're joint venturing people on this stuff. So what we're doing on this stuff, we're splitting the cash flow. 6,500 is basically, that's just the low end. That's not the extra. This is just taking their existing P&I payments, not the PITI or not the PI plus the extra. This is just on the extra. I mean, this is just base on it. All right. So the beautiful thing about that is our investors are pretty happy because they're seeing $150 to $200 a month coming into it, which is what we expected based on the funding amount that we funding these at. It's basically we're splitting at least a 24% ROI to us, all right, off the funding amount. Now, the fact is we bought these at roughly 34% of current market values. So what does that mean for us? Well, it means, hey, great, these people keep paying. We're sitting on cash cow. If my financial independence number to cover my bills was 6,500, great, it's like I just hit it, okay? Now, every one of these files was funded with other people's money, okay? Wouldn't use any of our own money because A, we're buying such a great percentage of value. We're also doing a lot of due diligence. Now, we've had a couple that are vacant. One is kind of trashed a little bit. It's going to need some work, but not as bad as I think it's going to be. And another one is just vacant. The next door neighbor wants to buy it, okay? We could sell that to her today and still make some money on the deal. I have somebody that's interested in joint venturing with us to help with a fix repair of it to help it move, okay? So, beautiful thing is these numbers. This is, if your number 6 is financial independence, honestly, on that, we've got the 41 that are working that way. All right. Now, if you were to take the 6,500 divided by 400, what's that number come to?
16.25.
16.25. Yeah, so we've got a few more deals because the rents are a little bit lesser. But, or not the rents, they're PI payments. Now, if we figure in, if we actually put in what they're paying, it's well below that 16.5 is what we would have needed, right, everybody? Okay. I'm assuming that with the reinstatements, we're sitting closer to probably 17, 18,000 in cash flow coming from them. Just haven't had a chance to put that institute that information into our spreadsheet. Yes, across the board. Now, what are we going to do with the remaining 20, 30 assets? Well, those we're going to make one phone call, one round of phone calls to them. Hey, you need to give us a phone call. Let's talk. Okay, and then we're going to just dump those to our special servicing company. Let them run with it. But look how much money we saved. We saved a bunch in attorney fees, in special servicing fees by one letter campaign. Hey, we want to talk with you. Hey, your loan was sold. We're now your lenders. We want to keep you in your property, but if you don't call us, we're going to have to start the eviction and foreclosure process. Your last payment was this month. All right. Here's what you owe. Here's the house we're talking about. Please call us. And in a couple situations, Jen, you've had a couple interesting conversations recently where one, the borrower's sister is also on it and didn't know that her brother wasn't making payments, and so she wants to jump in and make the payments, get caught up.
Yeah, he I don't know what the situation is, but she's the one that called back and said that she's the one handling
His finances.
The finances. She didn't know he was behind, and so that she wants to get everything rectified and taken care of.
Right. And then we had another one where it's an elderly couple. They're only like $1,300 a month coming in. You know, we're going to make a little bit of adjustment to try to give them a little bit of breathing room because we've got some flexibility there, still turn a good yield on that aspect. But I know it sounds way easy. Look, it took us weeks to go through the due diligence on these. It took us raising capital. But the thing is, what's my ROI on this money that comes in? Infinite. Because A, I don't put my own money into it. I haven't had to put my own money. Now, will I have some fees? Do I have costs here with salary and overhead? Yeah, I have costs for that stuff, obviously. But a lot of people are working from their home, their offices, and things like that, or Starbucks, or the beach, or other places like that, and you're doing great. You like Starbucks. Yeah. Greg likes the idea of going down to Starbucks and working there. He did a couple days as an intern, right? He's like, I got plenty of coffee, and I got all the pretty ladies coming in for coffee here in the afternoon in their yoga pants. All right. Questions, comments from anybody out there? Not yet. No comments. Okay. So the thing to keep in mind is if you want to leave your job, you want to do this full time, it comes down to two things. One, A, you got to figure what your number is. Two, you got to figure out your KPIs. Your KPIs in this case is how many offers you got to make, how many deals you got to do. And that all works in this case. How many do I need to make a week? Did I hit it this week? No. Crap, I really need to double down. And you know what? You're going to fail initially. You're going to fail, and you're going to have peaks in your valleys. Sometimes, some months you're going to close on 40. Some other months you close on 10. Some months you're going to close on anything at all because you're busy going back and working on your deals. And that's okay, everybody. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is not I'm going to hit a grand slam every time I step up the plate. But you will win if you just hit singles and doubles.
You're playing the long game.
You are playing the long game. It's totally the long game of cash flow. Now, are we going to have a chunk of these other 30 that we end up selling off, or they don't do, we end up evicting and selling off as REOs? Yes. Will some of these existing 41 that we have do cash outs? Potentially. Are some of them going to fail on their reinstatements? Yeah, a chunk of them are. We're just going to have to follow back up with, hey, need you to make your payment. You've got deadlines to make payments by. And luckily, our two servicing companies, Clear Spring and Mass Management, they're aware of what's going on in the situation. I mean, they're already accepting handoffs. Jen's basically, here you go. Here's where you make your payment. Hey, we're calling to make sure that this is the correct information to give our borrowers. And the borrowers are happy. They want to talk to somebody. Actually, many of them are extremely happy that they're no longer with their previous seller.
Yeah.
They're like, what? I can get you on the phone? I can talk with you?
Well, not only that, but they're able to get in touch with us along with their servicer,
right?
Which they didn't have that before. So
yeah, a lot of people were talking about how they had issues where they would be transferred to a phone number and it would just go to a black hole of a mailbox, a voicemail box, and not have any type of correspondence. And I get the bigger you are, the less available you are and stuff like that. And we're still boutique enough and agile, mobile, not quite hostile, to make it work for things. You know, the idea is, hey, we spend a lot of time on the first month with these people. It gets a whole lot easier after that. They're making the payments on time, everything's going good. Then we're getting statements, and we're rocking and rolling. But we did the first line of defense and really cleaned house on these so far. And we still got a chunk to reach out to. Okay? Anybody have any questions about figuring out their KPIs, their financial independence number? Anybody have something they want to throw out there as a number or as a number of deals they need to make offers on that they'd like help with? Now, I can't give you sources. I'm not going to give you sources. That's the biggest thing, is reaching out. There are a lot of low-hanging sources out there that you can make offers on. The idea is, are they providing enough for you to do that? We look at Joe Bayarina and Jimmy Kubiak. They got 53 deals accepted at once with a hedge fund from a bank in San Antonio. And the bank is selling the whole portfolio at roughly 55% of UPB, which is below fair market value. And out of these assets, so 53? No, I'm sorry, maybe 33. I may be thinking wrong. Is it 53 that I talked about?
No, it was in the 30s.
Oh, sorry, it was 33.
33.
Sorry. It's still 33 is a great, phenomenal deal. 21 of the 33 are performing.
Yeah, I was going to say it was like
At basically, when you figure a 55% purchase price off of UPB, it yields at roughly an 18% cash and cash return to them right now. It's ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
But there's no like workout.
There's no real workout to it. It's basically a servicing transfer and it's done. And then they could go ahead and start selling some of these notes off to another fund with performing notes relatively quickly. So that's the beauty of what they're doing. And that's the thing, is they went out and found some stuff. They avoided kind of low-hanging fruit. They're doing a great job with it. Took a little bit longer. They didn't initially submit some bids, but they went and found it, and they're making things happen. So kudos to them. They've got enough private money raised already to close the whole thing.
That's awesome.
So we'll have them on as a guest later on.
Yeah.
Okay. So financial independence numbers. This all works to making offers. But if you're like, okay, Scott, that's great, but how do I raise capital for those deals? Okay. If the average purchase price is, say, 20 grand, and I'm buying 7 of these, what's that, $1.4 million? 70K times 20, or 70 times 20,000? I think it's 1.4K. That's a chunk of money. Okay.
1.4.
1.4. But that's okay. You can do that. Everybody can raise $1 million in private capital. It's just a matter of going out and talking with people. I talked to a couple guys that called me out of the blue, reached out to me via Bigger Pockets. I got on the phone with them yesterday afternoon, or it was Wednesday. And these guys, they're doing some stuff in Indianapolis. They're buying low-value houses, fixing them up, turn around and owner financing them, putting renters in it, and bringing in IRA money to refinance out their hard money on the front end. And they're making a difference in the spread. Well, the company that's doing the owner or bringing in the IRA investors to cash them out is charging them 10 points to bring in the money and the mortgage is written. And the guy, he said, well, I paid $120,000 in points last month. Well, I was like, that's cheap because you're not having to go out and market for any IRA investors. I said, why don't you, how many of these deals have you done? And he goes, I've done 80. And I said, well, do you know who bought these notes? He goes, yeah, I have all the closing statements. I was like, there you go. Why don't you just reach out to those people and see if they want to do another deal with you directly?
Right in your lap.
He's like, oh, I didn't think about that. I was like, well, why don't you reach out to the local counties in Indianapolis or around that neck of the woods and find IRA investors? He goes, well, yeah, I guess I could do that. I'm like, could? He goes, well, that's a lot of work. I'm like, are you kidding me? You're paying $120,000 in points on a monthly basis. You could hire somebody for 60 grand a year to come in and just handle your paper stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, I didn't think about that. I'm like, come on. Yeah, Nicole's like rolling her eyes. Don't be getting no ideas now. All right, I'll let you leave in here now. But that's what I'm trying to get at. Is sometimes you just got to think outside the box. Well, I don't want to deal with all the direct mail. I'm like, really? You're going to be dealing with people that already own real estate. They already have IRAs. They have money. That's like shooting fish in a barrel. And that's kind of the marketing that we focus on to raise capital for our deals. And they're happy getting, if they get a 12% return on money, they're phenomenally happy because A, their money's probably not making them anything while it's sitting in an account at Quest or wherever. Okay. As always, we love Quest IRA. You can always sign up for your IRAs at questira.com. They are a sponsor of the Closers podcast show. Thank you. So, a little mini plug for them. They are doing a tremendous job. I kind of feel a little bit for Quest because they've got I know at least 2 or 3 of the questies have been rescued recently
Oh, really?
out of their apartment. Beatrice is actually in the process of getting married, and she's got about 1.5 feet or 2 feet of water in her apartment. And she's getting married relatively soon too. So she get a raft out, and you gotta get a raft in to go in and try to get a lot of her stuff that's hopefully still dry. All right. And Anne-Marie Holland's got rescued from her apartment as well a couple days ago. So they're in Houston. So we'll see actually Ingrid and Anne-Marie, maybe Beatrice as well, at the Distressed Mortgage Expo in Orange here in a couple weeks too. So any other questions or comments from anybody? So, all right. One thing we did also, this is kind of some people may have forgotten about this. I have not. Okay. So this kind of goes back to June 30th. Now, if you're listening on the podcast on iTunes or Stitcher or one of those, this is pre-podcast. This goes back to June 30th, which is coming on about 100 days ago, actually 97 days ago. And we threw a social media challenge out to everybody, right? You hand me my phone, Nicole? And so our June 30th, for those that don't know, was National Social Media Day. And here in Austin, we were celebrating for the first time. And I was speaking at a panel that got live streamed out, has about 10,000 people that viewed it and stuff like that. Woo, good. But National Social Media Day is something that's celebrated across the world now, and cities are picking up, and it's a great way for you to expand your business. Well, that morning on the Facebook Live that we did, I threw a gauntlet out to people to build a habit of focusing on their Instagram account for 66 days to build habits. So 66 days from June 30th is when? September 4th or Monday, which is Labor Day. Now, we're not doing an episode on September 4th because we'll be taking our Labor Day off. All right. You guys have big plans this weekend? Not really. You're going to Houston to hang out. Do you need some galoshes? Some rubber boots? Probably. Okay. So what we did is we sent a challenge out to those for those to focus on their social media, especially their Instagram account. Now, I pulled up my Instagram account last night just to look at it. In the last 62 days, I have added, hang on here, and it kind of fluctuates. Sometimes it peaks and sometimes it raises and drops. So in the last 60 some odd days, I have raised, drum roll, 103 followers. So averaging 2 followers a day. Great, right? I've posted.
He hasn't forgotten either.
Who?
Cody Cox says he hasn't forgotten.
You guys haven't forgotten either. So Cody, how's Cody done in the last 66 days? If Cody could share with us how he's done, what he started with, and where he ended up at. So I had 1,637. I have 1,740 followers on Instagram account right now. Now, I have not posted as many photos in the last couple of days as I probably should have.
No, you have.
I've done okay.
You have, considering like the social media posts we've done for like No Camp and virtual. And
You're
stuff
right.
Like that.
You're right. I have. And then, of course, the fight.
Yes.
And then, of course, me speaking at Quest IRA's event and the, what do they call it, thing with the moon and the sun? The eclipse. And some other stuff. And then some travels between there and there for the mastermind, too. So, look, the only way you're going to grow a following is to take action. Okay? And a lot of people were like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And they're like, oh, I've fallen off and I've not done anything. Okay?
I haven't really heard anything.
Haven't heard anything. So we're going to touch briefly. If you follow this, okay, and threw down the gauntlet and said, I'm going to do this, we want to hear from you. Okay? We'd love to hear from you if you were part of that, have watched that and taken that challenge on yourself, because it's not that hard to do. Just post something regularly. Post a picture of a property. Post a picture of where you're at. You could post to do a food porn. Not porn, but food of what you're eating. And a lot of people that do that to drive following. So share with us. Love to hear what you're doing and success. For those that listen to the podcast, hey, take it upon yourself to make something happen. Start building habits on a daily basis, because it doesn't take 21 days to build a habit. It actually takes 66 days to build a habit. 21 days is just the start of it, okay? But honestly, it takes 60 plus days for you to build a habit of success, especially in marketing. And if you start doing that stuff, I guarantee a couple things are going to happen. One, people are going to pay attention to what you're doing and reach out to you. Two, you're going to start attracting other private money, especially if you're talking about the deals you're working on and the cash flow and the workout strategies and what you're focused on.
Shannon Flynn, I think she attended the virtual last weekend. She said, with your social media tips from the last week, we've nearly doubled our Facebook likes already.
Oh, way to go, Shannon. Congrats.
Cody Cox says he has increased of 56 followers, up 40%.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Cody Cox. Basically about one a day.
Mm-hmm.
That's phenomenal. Congratulations, Cody. Now, ultimately what ends up happening, if you get likes and stuff like that, that works out well. Obviously, we had that social experiment work yesterday morning for Adam Adams, helping him with his YouTube channel become up to over 100, where now he can customize it. We did the same thing for Karen and Stacy Wall, and then they used that and leveraged the base camp relationships with the mastermind and a couple of groups to help that. Look, leverage your tribe. You never know who's listening. You never know who's watching, who's just waiting in the wings to do something. And like I said, 80% of sales happens after the 5th contact, everybody. I say that religiously. I should get a t-shirt. I should get a tattoo of that. 80% of sales happens after the 5th contact.
How about you just get a t-shirt?
T-shirt? No tattoo?
Not the tattoo.
Not a tattoo? Never mind. I'm not going to go there. It's Friday. We're going to leave it clean today. We're not going to be funny. Ha ha. Funny. Look, everybody. People out there are looking to do some stuff. They're literally looking to put money to work most of the time. And you have a lot of opportunities out there. You can raise capital. You can do the things we tell you to do and go out and raise capital and close deals like Wayne, Adam, and so many others are doing. Or you can sit around twiddling your thumbs, waiting for Santa to show up. And if you put out, milk and cookies, maybe he might show up. Or it could just be your mom making you feel good, all right? So the whole option, you have an option to hit your KPIs or hit your fin. It's up to you. Either you're going to do it or you're not going to do it. The idea is to put a plan in place to make things happen. And your plan is going to get adjusted. Maybe it's 30 notes instead of 60. Maybe it's 90 instead of 60. But guarantee you're going to feel really good. You got 90 deals. You'd be along a lot further than the Joe Schmo sitting next to you. Or the Joe Schmo who's got a house next to you who's upset and angry and just has no dreams anymore because life has killed him. You have a dream, all right? We all have a dream, Martin Luther King said it right. I have a dream, all right? Make it happen. Do the things that you need to do to get it done. If you're scared, guess what? It's normal. You're getting outside your comfort level. It's very nerve-wracking, all right? It's very nervous. The thing is somebody's not going to run down and smack you in the head, okay? That's more likely to happen like last night with Jen's son, Logan, playing football. Yes, if he lines up and runs down the field, somebody's going to come over and smack him in the head, okay? That's not going to happen to you. What's the worst thing people are going to say? You got to get in the habit of saying next. And realizing that no now often means not now. Because once people see what you're doing, and once people see the deals you're putting in that you're really committed to what you're doing, those no's will turn to yeses later on, or maybes. You just have to stick to your plan and keep doing it. So for those of you out there that are struggling, there's a few of you I get emails from, and I'm like, I know you're not making bids. I know you're struggling. Or you made bids and you chickened out on all of them. We have that happen plenty of times. Don't chicken out. Oh my God, I'm scared. Why are you scared? Is your due diligence say it's all this good stuff? Yeah. Well, I'm just scared. Okay, great. First time you're riding a bike, you were probably scared, shaking like a leaf, okay? I'll give you a great example. A really great example is, and they're doing a tremendous job of marketing and doing some things, is Katie and Chris Moton. Now, Chris is overseas in Afghanistan. He's communicating via text message and then via Google Live to Katie each day at night, going through some things. And my God, Katie put Chris's face on a stick and carries it around. So daddy's at the gym, or daddy's out traveling. It's great.
It's adorable.
It is adorable. And those two cats are brand new. Katie's brand new to really real estate investing. She's doing a good job of journaling it and sharing her videos online. Coletta Street Capital, right?
Yes.
And they made a couple offers initially when they came through our fast track, and they got a couple offers accepted. And we figured out the rough IRA will roughly be around 30% based on them reinstating and things like that. And I can tell you, I'm only giving Chris kudos because he still pulled the trigger on stuff. They were scared to death, or Chris was. Katie didn't know any better, whether to be scared or happy right at the beginning. And that's not a bad thing. Sometimes ignorance is bliss a little bit. But he was calling me like, well, what about this? Well, what about this? I'm like, those are all good things. He goes, yeah, but what but? There's no but about it. It makes sense. The deal's there. You had a realtor drive by. You see what market rent is. You see that the payments are here. Pull the trigger. And of course, they pulled the trigger and they're doing well on those 2 deals. Okay. And I had to give Chris a little bit of a pep talk like a start. Like, dude, quit trying to psych yourself out. You're overanalyzing things. And Katie's like, oh my God, he overanalyzes anything, which is okay because they have a very good feng shui aspect. You know, yin to yang on that stuff. Katie's like, come on, let's go. Chris is a little more cautious. That becomes, I think it comes more embedded in with what he does with, you know, aerial reconnaissance and all that good stuff. But very proud of what they're doing. And they're out making things happen. She's out marketing. She's getting comments. She's growing their YouTube channel. She's sharing videos, going out to other real estate investors like, oh my God, that was ridiculous. But I'm picking up contacts. So it is. That's a good thing. They're working towards their financial independence. They're working one day, each day, one offering, one event, one email, one deal at a time to make it there. And that's what it all comes down to. Get your first deal closed, get your first deal done, and start and double down. Look to get 2, look to get 3, look to get 4 accepted. Put your systems in place and make them work for you, because you can hit this if you're making enough offers. And if you find yourself making offers and constantly losing offers, it's probably not the right place to make offerings to. Because there's a lot of sources out there. And if you're fighting other investors to get deals accepted, well, it's probably time to find your own source. It's probably time to do a little bit different marketing to a different list to find deals. That's what I would share with you. So how are we doing? Anybody got questions, comments from anybody?
Yeah, Perry, he said, I use your idea of integrating MailChimp with Facebook and have placed an ad for $100 for 2 weeks to see how things turn out.
Oh, there you go. Good job, Apari. He wrote his email and uploaded it, linked it to Facebook, and he's sharing it now in marketing to promote that post for 2 weeks for $100.
Yes.
So that's $50 a week. That's $7 a day. I would be interested in Perry to see how your stuff works in the next 2 days. So don't hesitate to reach out. Let me know how that goes for you, because that's pretty cheap marketing. If you get one investor, it brings in 35, 40 grand. Well worth the $100 to do that. What else is Casey Lang have a question there?
No, he said Shannon's his partner.
Oh, Shannon is his partner. Okay, good stuff. So I think that's kind of a good spot to end then for everybody, unless there's any more questions. Hopefully, now, before I let you guys go, before we wrap up for the day, the worst thing you can do is go through this exercise and then not do anything with it. Worst thing you do, go through this exercise and figure out how many deals you got to make offers in, how many deals you need to close, and what your financial independence number, and just leave it there. Write it down. Post it somewhere where you can see it. Post it in the fridge. Post it on the TV. Post it in the bedroom, right next to the bed, so you see it first thing in the morning, or in the mirror in the bedroom, in the bathroom. 6,500 financial independence number. I need to get 60 deals done. I need to make 10 offers this week. Boom, boom, boom. Those are the simple things that will help you drive to success. Now, why post it? Because once you post it and write it down and post it somewhere, it becomes ingrained. It's like, one day I was thinking about, maybe I want a Range Rover. I want to drive a Range Rover. I think it's a car I like. I like Range Rovers, but I'm not going to pay 80 grand for one. And suddenly I start seeing white Range Rovers and black Range Rovers everywhere I would go. Okay. So I guarantee if you put something up there, you'll start seeing more deals. You'll start seeing things happen if you focus on what you focus on. Jack Canfield is a great example of this. The author of Chicken Soup for the Soul. Got a chance to meet Jack a year and a half ago, I think, in Houston at the Lifestyles Unlimited. Actually, yeah, a year and a half ago. He was there signing his new book. We got to visit a little bit. And that's what he did. He wanted to get $1 million check. He wanted to make $1 million as an author. So he wrote himself a check for $1 million and posted it on his bed. So it was the first thing he saw every time he woke up. And lo and behold, when he sold Chicken Soup for the Soul, he got $1 million check in a royalty right off the bat. Now, that's a great story. You know, Jack said it was true because I asked him. He chuckled. He said, yes, it's a true story. The thing you have to keep in mind is, what's your story? What's your $1 million check? What's the thing that you're focused on? What is your fin to get to the end? Isn't fin the end in French?
Yes.
So keep that in mind. What is your end number? What is your financial independence number? I know I'm just pulling out my butt, but that actually sounds pretty kind of cool. What's the fin to your indentured servitude? What's the fin to you working at your job that you enjoy so much or you talk about so much? what's really going to be your story? Because we all have different chapters to write. I have a lot more chapters ahead of me, and everybody out there has a lot of chapters to write. But what is going to be, what's really going to be the driving factor behind it? Is it going to be you closing deals, or you just talking about it, or you continue to work at your job? Help you write the story that you want to write, because we all want to do some different things. You heard that in Adam. You heard that in Wayne yesterday, which I love hearing those guys. And we got to try a little bit more for ourselves. We got to do stuff that we want to do now at our convenience versus the job's convenience. So it is, we're coming up on Labor Day weekend, guys. Have a great time. We need questions or comments?
Yeah, one last one. Laura Blanc. She's on raising capital. Can you give us a thumbnail on what you put on your marketing to what you put on your marketing to IRA investors? Surely you don't promise a percentage.
Laura, have you seen a Monday note where I talk about performing notes and things like that? That's what I talk about. I talk about the deals that we're closing. I talk about sample deals. Okay. Hey, I talk about, hey, here's what we're working through. Those are what I talk about. Hey, here's the sample deals we closed. Damn, we don't have those flyers, do we? I was just at a Quest IRA event, and we had a flyer. You got a flyer in the room there?
Yeah, it's on my little drawer.
Yeah, go grab it real fast. So I just talk about the deals that we close. I talk about the deals and the ROIs and why these deals make sense. I also talk about the deals that we've closed in the past and the stats. Don't get me wrong. This deal here is going to be a marketing piece. When I buy chunks or pools, I always keep track of where those pools are going so I can use them as marketing. Hey, here's a deal we just went through. Here's a funding we just went through. Okay, it's not rocket science, Laura. You've got sample deals. Just talk about the types of deals that you do. Here's the types of deals that we do. We have a couple of different strategies. That's all it comes down to, Laura. If I send a letter out to self-directed IRA investors, I talk about a little bit about myself, which is like a one-page letter. Hey, here's what we do. Here's what we're looking for. I include a copy of my executive summary, which talks about the business, and I include some sample deals. Hey, here are the types of deals that we do. All right. If you'd like to get more information, give me a phone call. And then when I get deals in, bam, it's like, hey, A, B, C, D, E investor. Hey, I know you guys were interested. Here's a pool that we're looking at buying, and here's kind of why we like the merits of it. Now, is it always going to be this way? No. But here's what we're going to do with option A. Here's what we're going to do with option B. Here's what we're going to do with option C. Now, what I don't do is I don't advertise the huge cash payouts on stuff. I say, hey, here we closed up and we talk one-off deals. But I do, if I'm talking to investor one-off instead of doing a bulk thing, I'm talking to investor, here's the sample deals we just closed. Here's the deal like Pari's post this morning. Very easy post, 16% ROI. Great for him. A little bit tougher to make money in a JV deal, but he used his own funds, so he's happy at that. Why wouldn't he? Okay? That's all it comes down to, Laura. It is not rocket science. It is not thinking crazy. It's literally just talking about what you're doing, talking about the sample deals that we're closing, other people are closing. Use those as discussion pieces. I can't tell you how many people, actually, I can tell you there's hundreds and hundreds of people. I'll give you an example. Al Curiel out of Chicago, Illinois, works his ass off, okay? He sent an email out to IRA investors that he pulled from us, and this was self-directed IRA investors. I think he sent 50. No, I'm sorry. He sent an email out to 500 IRA investors. He had 3 meetings. One guy wrote him an $80,000 check at dinner. Okay, they're in the truck. Okay. Well, he's funded 4 deals with that 80 grand for that one investor, and that investor has introduced him to other people that he had dinner with the other night. He's just looking for deals. He's just talking about sample deals that we do. He used the same piece of paper that many people that have used on our sample deals that are in base camp. All right. You also realize for Laura came to the mastermind. There are a lot of sample deals that people are sharing at the mastermind. Heck, we go through a lot of case studies at the mastermind. We go through about 20, and they're there for you to use in your marketing. So that's all you've got to do, Laura. Just share the resources that are available to you online and other places, and go from there. And realize and leverage your team. Okay. Talk about, hey, I got a team that backs us up. It's just not me and Julian, although we're great. We're great, but we have a team behind us. We have a group of investors that we can bounce ideas off of and leverage. And that's the huge thing, especially for those that are interested. I've heard mentioned about the mastermind we have. The mastermind is just phenomenal as far as sharing ideas and strengths and weaknesses and stuff like that, and overcoming obstacles, and ultimately growing our team exponentially nationwide instead of you just being here in Austin or Wimberley, and that's all you're focused on. So any other questions or comments before we wrap it up for the day, everybody?
That's it.
All right. Well, hey, Once again, it is Labor Day weekend. Have a great weekend. Go out and make some stuff happen. And we'll see you on Tuesday for our next episode. For those who join us on Facebook Live, for those on iTunes, once again, thank you so much for listening. If you really enjoy what you're hearing, leave a review, share it with your friends, share it, share the nuggets. Use some of the hashtagable quotes that you hear us talk about throughout the episodes if you're listening, and we'll maybe take notes. Also, if you'd like to, if you're listening to us at the beach, at the gym, while you're running, we would love you to take a selfie. Hey, listening to the No Closer Show podcast, and then send that in to us, or tag us on Instagram at @OneScottCarson, or hashtag No Closers Podcast. So otherwise, have a great long weekend, and we'll see you all at the top, everybody. Bye.